Hey everyone, welcome back to IELTS Daily. I'm Jay, one of the IELTS experts, and today we're going to answer a few questions on the IELTS speaking exam. So come along with me on this ride. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on part 2 of the IELTS speaking exam, and helping me out here is Chris. How you going, Chris?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Yeah. Are you ready for some new question today?
I sure am.
I'm going to send that question over to your iPad as usual, and you're going to have a look, make some notes, just like in the test. It's a nerve-wracking part of the test, and today's question is about restaurants. You will see the question on the screen now for all the students, and the question says, describe a restaurant that you enjoy. You should say where this restaurant is, what type of food they serve, who you usually go to this restaurant with, and explain why you enjoy this restaurant. Seems like an easy question, yeah? Lots of people eat out. Some people don't eat out very often, so they might have to talk about a restaurant that they remember. Great, so in the test you're going to have 1 minute to prepare your answer, and I'm going to start that 1 minute now.
So, I'm going to talk about a restaurant from my hometown of Chicago. And it's a restaurant that I love going to whenever I go back home to visit. Brings back lots of memories. I've had lots of good times at this restaurant. It's a Mexican restaurant. Mexican food in Chicago is really good. It's quite authentic. There's a large Mexican population there. And the food is amazing. So that's the restaurant that I'm going to talk about in my response.
What would you say is the best thing about that restaurant?
The ambiance.
Good service, like American service?
Yeah, very good service. Yeah, really good service. But the food's pretty awesome too.
So you've got about 10 seconds still to go. Do you go back there when you go home?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Every time.
Okay, so you've got, that's 1 minute is up, and you need to speak for over 1 minute, less than 2. Don't worry if I stop you. Your time starts now.
So one of my favorite restaurants is a Mexican restaurant cuisine in my hometown of Chicago. And it's a restaurant that I used to go to a lot when I lived in Chicago, but now that I don't, whenever I go home and visit friends and family, I try to make sure I visit this restaurant at least once during my trip home, because it's just a great restaurant. So as I mentioned, it's Mexican cuisine, good Mexican food, authentic Mexican food. Another reason that I really like going to this restaurant is, yeah, the food's great, but it's got just this amazing ambiance, and it's got a great, nice, warm and cozy atmosphere. And there's mariachi bands that will come around to your table and play for you while you're eating. And they have these amazing margaritas that are really, really tasty. And my friends and I really like to go and have some of the food there. And then once we're done having our food, we'll jump onto the margaritas and have a good old time, just catching up and laughing and having jokes and all that stuff, as friends would do. How'd I go?
Good. That was 1 minute and 12 seconds.
Oh.
Anything over 1 minute is fine, no problems. Let's talk about some of the things that you said in your response. This is one thing that I always personally get really frustrated with students about. One of my favourite restaurants is in the plural, isn't it? I don't know about you, but I see students, they will always say one of my favourite restaurant, and they put it in the singular. It's always in the plural.
Yeah.
You said, I used to go a lot. What does used to mean?
Just signifies a habit, something that I would do quite often.
Whenever I go home was a great phrase. Whenever I do something. Now this next word is, I think it's got 2 French words actually. The first one means the type of food. What was that word?
Cuisine.
Cuisine. Pronunciation, cuisine. And the other word was the atmosphere.
The ambiance.
The ambiance. And then you had a good grammatical form here, which was they would play while I was eating. So you would use would play in the simple past, and then you use the continuous form while I was eating. Really good mix of grammar there, and you need to have a variety of grammatical forms when you're speaking.
Absolutely.
What other cuisines do you like?
I love everything. I love Italian cuisine. I love Vietnamese cuisine. I love Chinese cuisine. I love Japanese, Indian, Pakistani.
I'm going to ask you a part 3 question now. Do people nowadays eat out more than they used to?
I believe they do, yes.
Why do you think they eat out more?
Because most of the time, especially if you have a family, it's usually because of the increase in cost of living in the environment and the times that we live in. It's required that both parents go to work all day, and unfortunately, when that's happening, it kind of lessens the amount of time that those parents have to spend in the kitchen, time cooking dinner and making really good, wholesome homemade meals. So I think over the last probably couple decades, this trend has increased where families are going out to eat much more than possibly 20 years ago, when there was usually one person at home preparing the meals.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that wonderful part 3 answer. I'm done.
I'm done too. So thanks for watching, and we will see you later on the next episode. See ya.